what is the debt, like what's your kind of carbon footprint on every single thing that you do, right? Because you need to kind of give more back to the planet than what you've taken. And you know, I think you know, I mean, it's a given now that we are pushing this planet to a point where it will be very tough to recover of sorts, right? And I think what's driving that is it like excessive consumerism, as in it's just wanting to constantly keep buying something which doesn't, you know, which you probably don't really need, right? So it's very hard to, you know, it's very easy to say it, but very hard to follow it. So I'm not saying that I'm a monk, that I don't have any vices. But I'm very conscious, you know, every time I'm buying something, I'm thinking, do I really need to buy something? You know, so so this whole the whole thing around climate change, I mean, it's a given. I mean, there's enough science to say that we're destroying the planet, right? And the question again, if you think about long term, you know, if I'm thinking that I want to, there's also selfish reasons for this, right? As in, if in 30 years from now the planet's going to be a lot worse, and we have to be stuck within our houses all the time, and etc. So what's the point of everything else? I mean, what's the point of health? What's the point of wealth, etc. Right? So yeah, so I think as humans we need to do something before it's too late. And the other thing that's always bothered us also has been that, you know, in India, you know, how poor the country is. You know, I mean, outside your, you know, the top 4-5% of the country, you know, it's really a poor country, and we need to find ways to, you know, get, you know, everyone, you know, inclusively like rich of sorts. And rich isn't really a rupee value, like, you know, rich is, you know, if people are well educated, they're satisfied, content in their life, they've, you know, enough food, you know, their shelter. I mean, that's a rich life, isn't it? You know? And the thing is, the problem is so big. I don't think there's any solution one person can. But I think we all should attempt to make some change, because if enough people attempt to make some change, you know, the odds of something happening is really higher than, and everyone's saying, you know, sitting and saying, you know what, this will somehow automatically solve itself, right? Because otherwise, you know, all large problems, you know, the first instinctive reaction is to say, you know what, the government will solve it, or, you know, some US will solve it, or, you know, there'll be some technology that will somehow miraculously solve this, which is not in these, you know, in cases of around livelihood creation and climate change. So I mean, and then, like I said, all the success of the business has given us the freedom to experiment, like, which is also very important. You know, if I didn't have the money, I don't think, you know, we would have had the freedom to do all of this. Right. Over the last 3 to 4 years, you know, the business has generated cash. So, you know, we are now saying, and the cash is not required for the business to grow. Okay. So we are saying, you know, it's almost unfair to keep money idle in the thing. You know? So we've allocated, we said that most of the success of the business eventually will be given back. You know, I mean, we started with $100 million allocation. We've deployed, I think, 350-400 crores, and over, you know, we'll keep, you know, as and whatever the business generates, the money which we don't need as a business, we will use it to kind of invest in the future as how our team. I think Indians need an easier way to make healthier choices, right? And, you know, I mean, that's really the idea, you know. I mean, even in fintech, right? We have not ever gone into an investment thinking it's going to somehow help us, benefit us in any way. It's more about just, you know, it's going to help the capital market ecosystem in India. It'll help people do better with their money, you know. So the idea has been more that. And with fintech, or with even, you know, whatever hell the investments that we're doing, I mean, it's more that, you know, it's like I said, you know, the idea with Ditch the Guilt or with Whole Truth was people need access to easier, healthier kind of